Hey everyone, I'm back with a new review of the Topaz Rhino update for Company of Heroes 3. Overall, I'm going to say that this update is really good, maybe a little bit too good. To give you guys a little bit of background, I actually took a break from playing Company of Heroes 3 because what ended up happening was after the update where they released like the Partisan group and the Polish Cavalry group, I noticed that I wasn't winning anymore, and I wasn't 100% sure if I just sucked or if there was a change in the meta that I just hadn't kept up with. I honestly think it was a change in the meta where Dak became way too powerful and Wehrmacht also became really powerful. What I was seeing was Dak was getting out a lot of early infantry and then light vehicles that Americans and British just couldn't counter. The British couldn't get him out with the boys' rifles, and the American bazookas just couldn't match what was being put out. In addition, the Palmgrens and then for the Wehrmacht, the P-grens were just uncounterable unless you were basically fully countering it with a British playstyle or a American playstyle to try and match them, i.e. like Rangers or very upgraded infantry sections, but usually you couldn't get something out in time to actually counter it. I also noticed that cover just didn't matter in the last update. Like, it felt like no matter what, as long as you were like moving, cover didn't matter at all. So you would just see blobs moving across the field, and they could wipe out your machine gun before it could actually suppress them. Especially with the Wehrmacht paratrooper group with their GB39 grenade launchers. They could just, from a distance, pick off your machine gun, and it was no fun. So, like I said, I just stopped playing. I hopped in after the Topaz Rhino update dropped a couple of days ago. I've played about 3 or 4 games, just kind of at night whenever I've had time. And I've found that the games go well for me. I think that's a variety of factors causing it. Everything from elo spread to ways that the game is going. But in one of the matches, I ended up having a very close like elo spread between the enemy team and my team, and it felt like the game went a normal amount of time. We didn't wipe them out, they didn't wipe us out, and the changes overall just feel good. To start, Germans don't steamroll allies, and allies also don't steamroll Germans in the early game. The lack of steamrolling makes it where the game actually kind of progresses into a normal way, and matches last about 20 to 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit shorter, depending on like how quickly you're able to progress into the tank portion of the game. I think one of the most consequential changes is that tanks don't feel as weak as they used to. At least whenever I'm playing Americans, it feels like I actually have the chance to get them out of there whenever they're getting hit. What I ended up seeing a lot prior to the Topaz Rhino update was that the American tanks could only take maybe 2-3 anti-tank shots and would just fall, or would get surrounded by a Shrek blob, and no amount of smoke, no amount of running could actually get you out of dodge before the tank was destroyed. Tanks actually feel kind of tanky and can take a few hits, whether it be from anti-tank guns, other tanks, or Shrek blobs. Another thing that actually feels really consequential, and let me be upfront, I haven't read the patch notes at all, so I don't know what's been changed yet. But one of the biggest, most consequential changes, in my opinion, is that the cover system actually is a lot more punishing. Before, whenever troops were caught out in the open, it felt like they would just take like some damage and they could stay there for a while, kind of duking it out with another squad. Now, if you're caught out in the open, you drop models incredibly quickly. I think a change that could probably be put forward is that there's a better retreat bonus, because I'm noticing that you are taking so much damage whenever you're in no cover that troops who are retreating 3-4 models, decent amount of health, will get cut down by a machine gun or like 2 squads. I think that's a little bit tough to deal with when retreating is supposed to make it where you're able to save troops. Whenever they're in green cover and they're fighting, though, they're much more effective. Even in yellow cover, it feels like it's much more consequential than it was prior. And I'm really liking that change. Another change that I'm seeing, I'm not 100% sure what's caused it since I don't play Germans, is that the SimCity warfare that we've been seeing, where it's just a line of bunkers, you might have seen it in one of my previous videos, where there's just a line of bunkers down an entire flank of the map, is basically dead. I don't see it. I don't think I've seen a beach AB belt. I don't think I've really seen anything crazy where Germans are just walling off an entire flank of the map anymore. And I honestly welcome that change. In addition, it feels like it's harder for them. I feel like it's harder for both sides to push through unless somebody's just completely not paying attention. I did play a game that you might see here where I was able to build an artillery emplacement and it just didn't get wiped immediately. I was also playing on Longstop Hill, and I was able to have a position with 2 machine guns and a mortar pit that wasn't overrun immediately. I did have a cheesy play where a 250 carrier made it through without me noticing, but I was still able to save my machine guns, which was nice to see compared to prior to this update. I'm seeing a lot of complaints on the subreddit about the call-ins being like merciless. I think those might have been early bugs for the Topaz Rhino update. I haven't seen it in any of my games yet, but I'm welcome to kind of like see where this heads. I think the big thing that was causing that though was there was a bug where it would stack a benefit for munitions gain across all teammates instead of just the one teammate who took out the it was either a technology from the ISC or it was a technology from one of the battle groups. But that's gone now. In all 3 games I've played, though, I've seen some call-ins, but it's not been anything crazy. I actually haven't seen British really being played at all, which is a little bit weird, and that's the big heavy call-in for the Allied side. But playing as the heavy weapons battle group, for Americans, I didn't see anything crazy where I was able to call in Black Dragon like a bunch of times, or I didn't see anybody else call in the infantry rush for Rangers that often. So there's also that. I've actually got the patch notes kind of pulled up now, and I'm looking them over. I haven't played any of the new maps, but they seem actually kind of interesting. I'm happy to see a 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, and a 4v4 added. The map rotation has kind of gotten stale, but I haven't seen any of them yet, so I can't really comment on them. The other big thing that I failed to like mention yet is the UX and UI changes. It's hard to say. I think it looks a lot better than what it was before. The game before really felt like a game that was like released in 2014 in terms of like the menu design. But the game now feels much newer in terms of like how it looks. And it's hard to say. I don't like new UX design that much, but I also don't think what we're seeing in Company of Heroes 3 on the Topaz Rhino update is awful. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Looking further at the patch notes, one of the big ones I see is the GRB nerf for the grenade launcher for the Luftwaffe company. I think that's a pretty severe nerf, but like honestly, no, I don't see it being abused as much as I've seen it before. I did notice while playing that grenades in general seemed a little bit more punishing, honestly. It felt like Germans were able to throw a lot further than they were before. And I felt like the British were maybe like a little bit less bad than they were before. I felt like there was a lot of damage from one of my teammates using one on somebody pretty close to me. And I lost 4 units off that, and they lost, I think, their whole squad, which was pretty insane, but we were all stacked up pretty high. In addition, I saw that heavy tanks are a lot cheaper to build, which I did notice that with the Pershing. I felt like I got her out really quick in one match, which was really nice to see. I'm looking at the anti-air changes, and I agree with them in their patch notes that they have been really tough to balance. And I don't know what we could do to balance them better. I feel like the changes that they did were not as good as they could have been. I really want to see it where we can damage drops or heavy bombers a lot easier. I saw somebody on the subreddit saying that it takes 3 Whirlwinds to like actually destroy a heavy bomber squadron, which is nice because I don't think that we were able to actually destroy them before. But I'd like to see like drops like actually do damage now. Or I think it would be nice if we could actually damage drops now. Oh, a big one that really threw me off was the victory point change, and looking at the patch notes, that's actually much more clear now. I noticed one game that it was like 510 versus 489, and we looked basically the same in the like little measurement bar of victory points. And it looks like they have increased it at least temporarily to see how it actually works from 500 to 575. I'd like to see an even number on that, or maybe change the victory point tick. But it does feel like it is spreading out games a lot longer and giving us more of a chance for like a comeback, like they do say. Looking at the Wehrmacht changes also, I really am happy that they changed the coastal reserves. I saw one match that I think I did post, or it's going to be coming soon, where I saw somebody just play nothing but coastals, and it wasn't very good. But I think they were trying to abuse the fact that the recovery of coastals whenever they die, I think that they were trying to abuse that, and I was wondering how that might have worked on higher like ELO games. They finally changed the direct fire and how it works for the bishop. I like the change, honestly. Doing like a short little like burst of shells is a lot better than what it was prior. In addition, I can't believe they messed with the refit and rearm. It didn't feel like they were like, I don't feel like it was abusing the system. I felt like it was very to the theme of the British battle group. I'm interested to see how it changes. I'm very interested to see how it changes the meta. I don't think many people were actually using it to get rid of the truck right after they get the 17-pounder. Especially because that only recovered you 25 fuel, if I remember right, which, you know, that can get you to the tank, but I think that's like very unlikely that people were doing it. For the Canadian shock battle group, I am happy that they changed burnout from 70 to 60, but I never use that ability because flame grenades are just so much better. Ooh, it's kind of interesting that they increased the price of the crocodile, though. I did think it was kind of cheap before, but I do think 780 210 for the price of it might make it where people don't play it anymore. Well, okay, it does get the heavy tank discount once the final production structure is built. So maybe once you get that platoon command post or the company command post, I can't remember which one comes third, maybe that'll make it okay to spawn. We'll see. Let me do the math real quick. Okay, if I understand the changes correctly, it looks like it's going to change it from 780 and 210 down to 585 and 157.5, so 158. So I guess that might make it fine if it's actually a 25% reduction like I'm reading. Okay, this is another interesting change that I'm seeing. They're buffing the L6, which in low elo games, I really felt like was very abused. They made it cheaper. They changed how quickly you can fire, which is interesting. The reload's faster, and then the rounds before acquiring a reload. Okay, the reload's faster, but you can shoot fewer rounds between the reloads. So honestly, I'm really interested to see if this actually changes the meta that much. I mean, I think more L6s is going to make it more crazy, but I want to see how it goes. In addition, they changed how the howitzer worked. Since I don't play DAC, I never realized that the 105-28 howitzer could be fired from the base, and I'm glad that they changed that. I think it's interesting, though, to see if this is going to change how people use it, because I do remember in a lot of games people going absolutely crazy with it and just destroying allied setups with it. Okay, so that's all the patch notes and kind of what I think about the games. I do think that there's going to be a lot more balancing happening either in the next update or in minor updates in between. But I'm very happy to see that Relic is actually changing things as time goes on and making them better. I know that there's been a lot of bug reports just in general, and they've been diligent in fixing them. I think we're probably on the second or third hotfix at this point, which shows that they're actually paying attention. I remember Company of Heroes, like closer to launch, where they would release like just one hotfix between patches, or maybe two if you're lucky. But I think that they're actually paying attention to the players and making the game better. So if you've taken a break, or if you weren't enjoying Company of Heroes 3, I think right now is a good time to hop in, especially if you're an Allied player. The meta is really good. If you're a German player, I don't want to say, like, get good, but, like, we've been dealing with the worst meta for, like, months. And you guys have always been, like, really in a sweet spot for playing. Just get over it and enjoy the game and try and figure out how to play around us like we've been trying to for 3-4 years since it's been released. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. I hope you guys have a good night. Bye.
Rifle squad involved. Let's get it done, boys. Take it personal. Hurry! Get done. Lost the territory sector. Back down. He's dead. Get on with it. Order. We need to take that territory. Fire and move. Keep that farm going. Enemy point needs to be 42 in range. Looks like we're going in. Go, go, go! Relay orders! MMG team down! We got orders! Reverse! Grind those gears! Get them! Get to work, engineers! Engineers here. Bag of smoke says these aren't for us. You men, get ready. Salvage battlefield wrecks. Get to work. You heard the man. We're up. Get ready! Look alive, boys. We're up! Tools down. Repair work complete. Hey, you got a job for us? Us? Now? 50 cal is up! Let's make some noise! You need a dose? We need to push.
Check the line. Capture point under attack.
Right on, right on. Keep it tight, watch for movement. Right on, boys, don't stop. Come on, boys, keep fire. Kill it! Fuck! Anti-tank! AP! They've got us ranged! Shoot on side, move when you can! Get that gear squared away. Come on! MG fire! Taking MG fire! Squad! Move, move, move!
The repair station may be deployed at the front line.
That's us! We're up!
Browning, front and center.
Weapons, we're ready!
All right, boys. Advance. Stay alert.
They're calling us in, fellas.
On your feet. Let's go. Look back. Cover off on the ground. Time to earn your living, so come on. Let's get this show on the road.
Well, look what the Johnny says we gotta move.
Let's go, boys. Incoming. Get down.
Get where we're going. You know we're here. Let's start setting those crowds out. Give them a reason to run. They're firing.
We need to use our command points.
Taking losses. Get out of here. Watch your fucking talk. Let's go. Keep this steady. Right on, boys. Don't stop. The enemy is running. Full-scale retreat.